Hello, we hope you had a great week. Here is what you need to know this evening. President Granger restates willingness to engage opposition during talks with President Carter, says Minister Harmon. Minister Trotman gets a first-hand look at the Guyana Gold Board facility's newest facilities. And a self-employed mom is using just about everything to craft unique items. And now for the details. We begin with this week's post-cabinet roundup. Here is Stacey Carmichael.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon said President David Granger received a call from former U.S. President Jimmy Carter. Discussions focused on the state of talks between the government and opposition. The president indicated 3 areas that he wishes to speak on with the opposition leader. These include national security, the oil and gas sector, and the environment. During his conversation with Carter, President Granger restated his willingness to engage the opposition.
Some time ago, the president did in fact indicate to the opposition that the leadership of the government team will be the Prime Minister and other ministers as may be assigned from time to time. But you know that the opposition has been very selective in the matters which they wanted to deal with. In the appointment of boards and commissions, they have chosen which are the ones they will go to. At meetings to which they were invited, they have chosen the ones on which they will come. And so it's basically been a sort of a picking and choosing by them. But as far as the government is concerned, the president has always made it clear that we are interested in dialogue.
Minister Harmon added that the president, in the interest of moving the process forward, agreed to lead the talks after the opposition objected to the Prime Minister, Moses Nagamutu, leading them.
The opposition, as you know, they have always tried to disrespect our Prime Minister. Our Prime Minister, of course, has actually treated that with dignity and aplomb in the way he executes the functions of his office. But they have actually said some very terrible things sometimes about our Prime Minister in the National Assembly, but you've been there, the press have always been there, and you've heard the exchanges. But I think that our Prime Minister is doing an excellent job as Prime Minister, and the assignments which have been assigned to the Prime Minister, I think he's carried out them with efficiency.
The senior minister announced that President Granger has agreed to allocate a larger plot of land for the construction of the Secretariat for the National Tushaus Council, NTC. Government is considering some of the Gaisuko lands for this purpose. The NTC was previously allocated a plot of land in the Sophia Exhibition Complex. Minister Harmon disclosed that government is in receipt of over 71 expressions of interest for the sugar estates currently being valuated by PricewaterhouseCoopers. He reminded that this will be one of the largest transfer of land from the state to a private company. Hence, government is taking steps to ensure the process is transparent and orderly.
That valuation will actually give us a good sense of what prices you're actually looking for the equipment, for the land, and all of these assets that belong to Gaisuko. And so it is an important step in the process to have these valuations done. So in fact, while some companies have actually made applications, expressed interest, what we are saying is let us get the proper valuation and know exactly what it is that we're doing so that it is not done in a piecemeal manner.
He clarified too that the second tranche of payments to sugar workers will be made in the second half of the year. The Ministry of Social Cohesion has been given $17.3 million. This sum will be divided among the registered African groups for the hosting of emancipation celebrations in the regions. A special emancipation event will be hosted at the Union Cultural Complex at the Union, East Berbice, Quarantine, Region 6. And finally, in the Roundup, Guyana will be hosting the Commonwealth Association for Public Administration and Management, CAPAM's 12th Biennial Conference from October 22 to 24 under the theme, Transforming the Public Sector for Climate Governance. Over 420 international and regional participants are expected here for the event. For InfoHub, Stacey Carmichael.
Social Protection Minister Amna Ali dismissed as totally unwarranted an opposition parliamentary motion to return the Department of Labor to its pre-2015 status, and she explained why. Here are the details.
Minister Ali informed the House that, unlike the previous administration, the coalition government is solid in its demonstration for good governance, and faithful to its workers. She reminded that President David Granger is empowered constitutionally to appoint his ministers and name ministries.
In essence, the motion constitutes a veiled attack on his office, and we will not be part of any process which is designed to undermine the authority of the President in the execution of the functions of his office.
The minister, who's also government's chief whip, added that the ministry's new direction is in keeping with the outlook of the International Labour Organization on social justice for fair globalization. She added that the social protection ministry comprises two pillars. These are social security and social protection.
The change has not in any way altered and or taken away from the authority of the Department of Labor to efficiently and effectively carry out its mandate in keeping with its mission.
These include, the minister explained, executing appropriate policies and programs to maintain a stable industrial relations climate, enhanced workers' safety and health, improving working conditions, developing a social compact to increase productivity and competitiveness, and the provision of various services to employers, trade unions, and employees, among others.
This coalition government is cognizant of the benefits of incorporating labor within the Ministry of Social Protection and the significance of the interconnection between these two vast areas that contribute to the human development. We will not lose sight of our vision to move this nation forward by the continued unsubstantiated claims by the opposition members of this House.
The motion was put to a vote and defeated by the government side. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The Guyana Gold Board announced it will not be purchasing sponge gold until it completes testing of new mercury control equipment at its new Albertown office. Tiffany Rogers has more.
Minister of Natural Resources Raphael Trotman toured the new facility located in Crown Street. Guyana Gold Board General Manager Andreen Thompson explained the board has put a temporary halt on the purchase of sponge gold.
I've issued notice in the newspapers and on the electronic media to say we're only purchasing smelted gold because the system is not fully tested and they're still working on that.
Thompson explained the sponge gold has more mercury than smelted gold when the former is burnt out. The Gold Board is live testing a newly procured mercury control equipment using smelted gold. The equipment is being installed and tested by ACT-Labs. General Manager Kevin Gomez explains how it works.
This mercury abatement system, we have 3 recovery or checkpoints. In all 3 of those positions, mercury can be recovered.
Gomez said any mercury that is released after processing would be way below the admissible level of 50,000 nanograms. Minister Trotman said his ministry will continue to work with miners who use mercury in their operations. The government is also exploring issuing permits to dealers burning gold.
We have to ensure that the EPA is also regulating these, and so we said to the gold dealers that they will now be required to have an environmental permit issued by the EPA on a yearly basis if they're going to be licensed by the Gold Board to be dealers. So we are adding yet another layer of regulation because we don't want to know that whether it be in Robb Street or in First Avenue, Bartica, people are at risk.
Gold Board Chairman Gabriel Lal said the board will overcompensate to ensure burning practices are safe and healthy for the surrounding environment and those using the new facility. For InfoHub, Tiffany Rogers.
Daddy!
Thanks for staying with us. 2 families are now closer after successful organ transplants. Delicia Haynes has that heartwarming story.
The families of Ravi Narayan, age 30, and Freddie Boudou, age 58, agreed to exchange kidneys via transplant, saving the 2 men's lives. The paired exchange kidney transplant procedure is one where a patient who has a willing but incompatible benefactor donate the kidney to another person in need. However, the other person must have a compatible family member willing enough to give the organ to the initial patient. Transplant surgeon Dr. Kishore Prasad of the Georgetown Public Hospital explained that incompatible willing donors is one of the reasons persons are left on dialysis for extended periods.
Plenty of patients, they have donor, and the donor does not match them. So what they end up doing is remain on dialysis. Now, we have done multiple transplants in the hospital so far, and our success rate stands way in the 98%. So we have approached our administration, and we did not invent pair exchange. It is done in the first world country.
The Georgetown Public Hospital's administration greenlighted this groundbreaking procedure. This meant the kidney donors and the recipients would have had to commit to giving their organ to someone other than their family member.
So the issue is, how do you prevent? Meaning is that she gave me the kidney, and then tomorrow my donor says, I don't worry, that is a big setback. So what we did, we tried to adjust this to our setting. And what we did is that we admit all 4 patients at one time, and we try to do their surgery consecutively.
Both donors and recipients were grateful to each other's families' generosity. A donor, Kamari Budu, said that she felt encouraged after she realized what impact her deed could have.
The first time I saw Ravi, and then I hear his story from Dr. Kishore, of course, and when we met with him, I realized that, he need help and we could have done something.
With the high cost attached to dialysis in Guyana and the reduced life expectancy of a person in need of kidney transplant surgery, Dr. Prasad is hoping to make the paired exchange procedure a regular one. For Info Hub, Delicia Haynes.
Relief for residents of Enmore Hope and surrounding communities as the Ministry of Agriculture commissioned a new pump house and drainage pump. This comes as efforts continue to increase the drainage efficiency of coastal communities, according to Minister of Agriculture, Noel Holder.
Since assuming office in 2015, the government has made determined efforts to grapple with the deficiencies in the drainage and irrigation systems throughout the length and breadth of Guyana. We have reorganized the NDIA to manage water in a more deliberate and structured manner, looking at the unique needs of each region and allocating the resources to implement the relevant plans.
The newly commissioned drainage asset is valued at more than $400 million, subsidized under the IDB-funded Conservancy Adaptation Project, CAP. World Bank representative Pierre Nadji described it as a step in the right direction.
Flooding is an everyday threat. The pumping stations affect positively the life of everyday citizens across the society. And this is a work that is ongoing and must be continued. I must say, I've been for 4 years in that current capacity as supervising the Guyana program, and I've noted a very solid acceleration of achievements in the past 2 years, and for that I really commend the government and the local communities.
An Enmore North resident for almost 40 years, Darcy Basdio, said she's pleased with this latest development.
I'm so happy today to know that we have a new pumping station, because when we had a coca, it didn't work too good. You used to get water to your knee, to your waist, to your neck, and all these things. So I do hope for the future generation, they will enjoy, because we don't, thankful very much.
The Enmore Hope Drainage Pump Station is the third to be commissioned under the CAP program. It can displace an estimated 1,200 gallons of water per second. The other stations are located at Lusignan and Buxton. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Here's our final report. The basic definition of a stay-at-home mom is someone who stays at home to raise her children and manage her household, leaving behind a monthly salary that comes with being a part of the workforce. Proprietor of Everything Makes Craft, Christine DeCambro Forrester, is redefining the meaning of stay-at-home mom.
Growing up, DeCambro Forrester said she was not really into the arts. In high school, she was pushed into the business stream. After marriage and 2 children, she became a stay-at-home mom. This brought out her skills in arts and craft.
I was looking to do things with the children that were both educational and creative. And that's how it all started. So I started posting these things on Facebook, and I was all excited that I could do this, and I wanted everybody else to do it, especially stay-at-home moms.
In 2014, after generating a social media following, she was encouraged to start her own business. Everything Makes Craft was then established.
I looked around at the things I used, and I noticed I used everything in my house, like everything, like especially the trash items, like all the macaroni and cheese boxes, the corn cans, the cans from all the different things that we used, newspaper, cereal boxes, plastic bottles, every type of glass bottle, everything. And because I was using these things with the children, I realized, okay, this is a good way to sort of reduce the amount of garbage that I throw out. So then my business became all about upcycling, which is reusing trash to make arts and crafts.
The expanding business located at the Keyshares building on Hatfield Street specializes in creating handmade upcycled products, handmade greeting cards, decor, and more. The Canberra Forester said she also does pop-up lectures at various schools on the benefits of upcycling, decor, and conducts her own summer kids crafty class and adult workshops.
This business, you need to bring so much more than creativity to it. I'll say that to anyone looking to get into this type of business. You need to bring passion, you need to bring love, and you need to bring that staying power where no matter what happens, you have decided to stick it through.
The Canberra Forester is also an active volunteer with a number of government and non-governmental organizations. Crystal Stahl for InfoHub.
We leave you with your bridge and weather reports.